Landmarks of Vetrai. What a topic. One I'm excited to cover, as it will allow me to expand upon the various points of this continent that I have a lot of passion for. Anyways, subscribe and join the Discord. Starting off, let's cover the Drowning Sands Desert to the south, a land of tribes and ancient ruins, with latent, lingering dragons, who have been slumbering beneath the sands for centuries. Within the desert, there are two key landmarks I'd like to cover here. The first is the Glass Tomb, a landmark point of interest that scholars are intrigued about. The small portion of the desert covers a solid glass diorama. The glass isn't smooth, almost as though it was flash burned into history. Within is a perfectly preserved small diorama of a small battle. 4 warriors interlocked in battle of different factions and nations. This particular site has been excavated and research camps have been set up around it as they study this singular moment locked in time. The history of the armor and weaponry of the warriors seems to be of post-divine make, meaning that the history isn't entirely lost, but this particular scene's importance is lost to time, and that's why scholars study it, extrapolating their form of combat, their weaponry, the runes on their armor. All of these details are built up into tomes, with researchers trying to learn of their history and compile it for future generations to not lose the knowledge of these now ancient warriors. The next landmark of the deserts is what gives it its lovely name. A small portion of the region, in which the sands is like a liquid, flowing as water, but imperceptibly different from the rest of the sands. This is a dangerous location that the villages of the tribes avoid and warn outsiders against going into. The region has this liquid-like sand due to a Eldrayan node of water beneath the sands, one of the instances of a non-transmutative node, purely effect. The sand of this part of the desert flows like water due to being entirely within proximity of this node. The unique circumstances of this part of the desert has created a unique predator. Now, picture this. Your party of adventurers bounds over its final dune. The one leading the pack falls suddenly into the sands in front of him. At first he sinks slightly before bobbing up, treading water or the sands. The adventurers find it quite funny and interesting, perhaps spend a bit of time swimming within it, testing it out, before they begin to feel a cold grasp at their feet, as though their foot is stuck within normal sand. Next, they find that it's all too late to escape. As they are pulled slightly below the surface, the sand around them just covering their face and drowning them. The creature that causes this causes the sand around them to become almost mud-like, making it extremely difficult to escape from them. And even if you do, it's almost impossible to tell which direction the shore of the hidden sands is. The drowning sands don't have a unified name for these creatures, but they are known as various things, such as chill grabbers, cold sands, chisk, and drowners. They're a dangerous creature that you do not want to come across in the sands. Following this, there's the wind-ravaged plains, a landmark and region in and of itself. The plains are a unique culmination of Eldrayan node and natural landscape, leading to a continual buffet of wind that has no non-magical creature live within. The plains, however, are an important part of the local environment, as seeds and spores alike are brought by bugs and birds of nearby regions, and they're launched off across the world, all across the continent. These unique seeds are sent, giving new life to the rest of the world. Now, the emptiness of this landscape isn't to say that nothing lives here. There are various elementals and other creatures here, such as mephits and beyond. Other than that, there's nothing. The elven forest of Xentrae holds within it 3 unique landmarks. The connection to the Enclave, on the edge of the Divine Arch, is the first I'll cover. It is a larger portal. The portal is guarded by 2 trees that prevent the entry of any elves who seek re-entry to the enclaves, as well as any other races that dare try to enter into the enclaves through this portal. The next landmark of the forest is the Grove of Pridrohil, also known as the Grove of the Crying Tree. The story of the tree is unknown. with many theories popping up, assuming that maybe its lover was a witch who cursed him. Other theories cover the belief that it's a grave of the divine champion from before Ascension. Truth is, as with many things in Xentrae, it may never be known what is this creature, but isn't that what makes it interesting? Following that, there's the Barkbane, a giant creature of the woods, a creature that lumbers through the northern part of the forest, cracking trees as it walks past unintentionally. Barkbane appears to be a giant bear, with stone jutting out of its shoulder blades as it moves through the forest. It harms the forest, and upon gaining the scent of any fae or elves, it charges to them, seeking to rend them from the plain. If you couldn't tell, elves aren't liked in Xentrae. I mean, at least on this continent. Now, off and away from the forest, and on to greater things. A man-made landmark of Vetrai, a rare occurrence, equivalent to a man-made wonder of the world, similar to the Eiffel Tower or the pyramids. The Orchid Memorial, near the capital of Athralis, is a stunning, beautiful creation. It memorializes the once great queen of Athralis, who has since passed away. The Orchid Memorial is a shimmering, beautiful living art piece, a flower garden of the queen's favorite flower, the orchid. The orchids here, through Athralis mages and through the queen's connection to the essence, the color of these vibrant flowers shifts throughout the year and throughout the day, particularly reactive to the essence of the casters who walk through it. The bulbs in the orchids turn to the caster. Many witches, druids, and other particularly earthly attuned essence users journey here to find themselves and their meaning within the greater scheme of the world. The next landmark I'd like to cover is the oceans themselves. A little bit of cheating, but not what the video is based on, but it's important to cover and I've not covered it yet. So, let's go over it quick. The oceans of the world are near impossible to cross. Even the most skilled adventurers would struggle on the high seas of Xentrae. The oceans are filled with horrifying massive creatures, krakens, whirlpools, and let alone just other creatures of pure essence. All of these creatures seek to drown the ships that attempt to cross it. It's the main reason why exploration is still a theme of the world. Rather than everything being explored, the continents are known of, as occasionally a ship will be stupid enough to try and cross the great vast waters of the world, but only around 1 in 1,000 ships survive cross-continental journeys. However, with the relatively recent airship discovery, exploration is booming across other continents, as now adventurers can globally sail to areas previously unexplored. Alright, now we can move on to the subclass of this video. It obviously has to be linked to a landmark, so let's cover the northern tribes, and a unique barbarian subclass within. The Path of the Northern Wind, the Guardians of the Ice Knife. Eldrayan node of water, but not exactly, as it's frozen. It is supposedly what causes the temperature of the north to be so cold. Stories of the Divine Age talk of a time when the men of Northolm were proud warriors of a temperate nation. The military of the nation of Northolm, pre-Ascension, were skilled, calculated, severely different from the nation we know of now. The Path of the Northern Wind Barbarian are a proud, trained people who defend the Ice Knife of the North. At 3rd level, the Cold Winds of the North follow these barbarians on their journey to their rite of passage. The Cold Winds of the North heighten as they rage, causing their enemies to feel the numbing wind grasp over them. Enemies of the barbarian within 5 feet take 1d6 cold damage at the start of their turn. This increases to be 2d6 damage at 5th level. At 11th level, it also slows the enemy by 10 feet for a minute, and at 16th level, it slows them by 20 feet for a minute. At 6th level, the cold winds invigorate the barbarian, granting them resistance cold damage when they rage, and anytime they would make a saving throw against a spell or ability that does cold damage, they have advantage against that save. At 10th level, the barbarian is granted a shard of the Ice Knife. It is ritually stabbed into their neck, freezing their back, allowing the barbarian the ability to prolong their rage. As when their rage would end, they may choose to instead take 1 damage, prolonging their rage for a turn. Every time the barbarian does this, until a short rest, increases the damage they take by 1. As they grow in level from here, the barbarian continues to feel the shard of the Ice Knife grow within them, freezing over their veins, replacing the function of their heart with the cold essence of the Ice Knife, becoming living constructs of the Ice Knife. The barbarian at this point becomes immune to cold damage, instead healing when they would take cold damage, as it fuels the shard within their neck. The barbarian may also choose the ability to flash freeze in an act of self-sacrifice. A barbarian, as a bonus action, may choose to fall unconscious, dealing their remaining hit points as cold damage to every creature within a 30-foot radius, unless those creatures make a dexterity save equal to 8, plus the barbarian's proficiency bonus, plus their constitution modifier. Now the observant of you will notice that I said rite of passage. An odd phrase to use considering I haven't discussed the rite of passage yet, so let's cover that. Their rite of passage is to journey to slay a king. Though not in a literal sense, it is a metaphorical instruction. Though, literal will do as well. Hopefully, if you plan to use the subclass, your DM has exposed the BBEG by the time you plan to complete this quest, allowing for you to explain that you cannot return to your sacred duty to defend the Ice Knife, as you need to, save the world. Alright, quick jump to the battle for Injara. Same rules as last time. Athralis is still inside the walls, and both armies last time tied. This brings down Athralis to a +0, and Luminaris to a +1. However, Athralis rolls 2 dice, as they are still the defenders. First off, Luminaris. They've rolled a 5, for a total of 6. Athralis has their first roll. A natural 20. No need to roll again. The armies of Athralis push out of the gate, surprising the armies of Luminaris. Luminaris being caught unprepared, their siege was going well, until the Night Watch failed to notice the military of the enemy within the walls prepare their Thorn Guard. For last-ditch attack, the Thorn Guard push out, using their speed to their advantage. They push past the enemy, encircling them around the gate. The armies of Luminaris struggle to even put on their armor. This is a massive failure for the Luminaris army, and it draws the battle to a close, with losses on both sides, but Athralis receiving no casualties on the third day of battle. The leadership of the Luminaris army has been captured, and will have lingering effects later in the war. Continuing on, not too far away from this, there's the Temple Path, the old pathway of temples that stretches from the southern Divine Arch to the northern coast of Coralia. These temples have been in disarray from looters and scavengers for hundreds of years now, but the general idea of the Temple Path is that there's a clear line across Vetrai, where all of these temples to the various divine were once of importance. Many of these temples are graves of heroes of the divine, and other are simply vaults of their relics. Many of these are empty now, but not every single temple has been discovered yet, and not every one of these has been considered safe to enter. Alright, the next and final landmark I want to cover is the Swamp of Goblins. There's a particular landmark of interest here that I hope will be interesting to the rest of you. Within the marshy swamp, there's a small patch of land that is drier than the desert to the south of here. This point is simply known as the sunspot, as the sun is never blocked on this bit of land, an odd anomaly within the marsh. This landmark never has any clouds, and rain never touches it. There's an interesting art piece by Calliope the Chaos Muse that showcases this piece of land, and many claim within the art that you can see a silhouette of a man holding a sword, though the story of the man within the painting has grown to be far more clear than the actual painting shows. Many have ventured to the sunspot after being inspired by Calliope's painting, in an attempt to find the same inspiration that gave her purchase to create the masterwork painting itself. The painting is held within the Maheng Library in the capital of Coralia. The curators of the art within the library claim that they have never seen a silhouette within, which has led some to believe there is a conspiracy preventing those from knowing the true secrets of the painting. The man within the painting will be remaining hidden for now. Let's round it out with doing all of the YouTube things, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell thing. Patreon if you want to support what I do in these videos, it would be greatly appreciated, and Discord if you want to help build out the lore with some others. Anyways, peace. Have a good one.